This is episode 83 of No Truths Barred, the best up-and-coming podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Boy Kawaku Timmons. And also, if you've missed any of the previous 82 episodes, those episodes can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Also, I want to take the time to thank everybody that has clicked the like button, left a comment, contributed a piece of constructive criticism. Any modicum of support, I deeply appreciate it. So thank you guys. And also letting you know that after this month, I will not be doing any more episodes on SoundCloud. So it'll really be more YouTube oriented. That's kind of the trajectory for the platform going into the remainder of the year. So thank you for the support thus far. And, I'm looking forward to today's episode. I have an awesome guest on today. We've linked before. I've been on her platform, the Whole Division Podcast. Make sure you follow the Whole Division Podcast page on Instagram. Also, make sure you go and subscribe to the Whole Division Podcast YouTube channel. I have on today's show the beautiful, the brilliant, the high vibrational, good friend of mine, all the way from London. Well, better yet, Wales. Let me not say London. Wales. What's so Wales? Wales. Okay. All right. All the way from Wales, my good friend and sister, Chidi. How's it going on today?
Oh, hey, thank you for that. Beautiful.
Hey, look, I messed up my sentence. I'm kind of borderline dyslexic. I said, how's it going on? And look, that's that work. I got to wear off because, I literally just hopped off of work and hopped onto the podcast. So, pardon me if I'm a little discombobulated right now, but
it's good.
but I want to thank you for coming on today's episode because I think we're going to touch on a lot of things that are relevant to relationships and relevant to just how as we as adults interact with one another. First off, before I get into the episode, I want to let you introduce yourself. For people that this may be their first time encountering you and your platform, based out of the UK. Just tell the people a little bit about yourself, and then once again, how they can follow you guys.
So hey, my name is Chidi. I am a woman. I am an advocate for self-love. I am an alchemist. I put my energy out there to help others, to inspire others, and just to give people, that sort of motivation to of self-belief. Really, I created the Whole Division podcast as a platform for people to just have a voice where we can have laid-back conversations about real life topics and anything that's going on in the media. You can follow my podcast, as Hoyt said, at Whole Division Podcast on Instagram, and the page is on YouTube, and also my open page where I post quotes and try to inspire other people. That's Breathe It All In, Love It All Out. And yes, Hoyt, it's so great to be back here with you. This is a long overdue conversation. We need to have this conversation.
Yeah. It's a lot has transpired since we last conversed. And I actually went back on my page and I looked at the last time we did an episode, and it was back in November, and here we are in April. So
wow.
It's been quite a while, and you're actually I actually didn't intend to have guests back on until May. So I was going to do like May, June, July. But when you hit me, I was like, and what's going on? I feel like this conversation is needed and it's definitely relevant. And so what we're going to do, we're going to hop right into it. Unless you've been living under a rock, you should know about this debacle that is going down with Will Smith. And I've had many conversations with a lot of different friends about the different facets of this Will Smith and Chris Rock incident. So just to provide kind of a background, if you do not know what's going on, at the Oscars, Chris Rock came on stage. He was one of the presenters for, I forgot what award it was for, but he was one of the presenters, and he made a joke. The joke was about Jada Pinkett, and he was like, can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. And Will, I want to save that for later, but to the point, Will got up and slapped Chris Rock. He assaulted Chris Rock because it was seen as accosting or harassing Jada Pinkett. So that's it. Now, the basis of this particular episode we're going to go in a lot of different directions because we've seen things that are kind of indicative of how we view relationships, of how we view protecting women, and a host of other things. So I want to start with Chidi, and I want to ask you, when you first saw this happen, what was your initial interpretation of it? I'm talking about at the moment, not days later or an hour. When you first saw it happen, what did you think?
I thought that shit was funny. She is bold. That was my first reaction. I was like, but she is bold. The joke was fitting. I don't believe for 1 minute that, Chris Rock, I don't think he intentionally meant to touch on her alopecia. It was just a funny joke. This is what happens at the Oscars, at any, like award ceremony. We all know that somebody, if they're coming for you, a joke's going to be made. I think everybody found it funny, even the reaction of, the whole, the audience, even Will Smith himself found it funny because we see him laughing. And it wasn't until I think that he saw his wife's reaction that the energy changed. I think if she would have kind of just gone along with it, it would have just been laughed off and it would have moved on swiftly. I just think in regards to Jada Pinkett Smith, I'm not a fan. I'll put it out there now. I am not a fan. The woman is extremely toxic, and you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be able to read energy to know that she's a toxic woman. I believe she did it. It was on purpose. She's got, how can I put it? She's got very narcissistic, gaslighting vibes.
I want to sit on that. I want to come because I have a lot to say on that point. So I'm going to say this. For me, my initial interpretation, because I wasn't watching the Oscars, I was actually doing, I don't know what I was doing something. I can't remember what I was doing, but I got on Twitter and I saw the photo of like Will Smith like this and Chris Rock like that. And what I thought was maybe, because sometimes at award shows, comedians are like, okay, let's do this little skit. And, to make people think like, oh, this happened, but it's really like a skit. So I didn't pay any attention to it initially. I thought like, oh, haha, Chris Rock and Will Smith must have like said, let's do this thing at the Oscars or whatever. But then like maybe 40 minutes later, somebody put the uncensored audio along with the footage up. And when he slapped him, when he got back to his seat, he was like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Yes. And at first I thought, I was like, okay. But then when he said it twice, I was like, oh shit, this dude is real. Like this is real. Like I thought it was like a skit or a prank. I didn't think that.
Did you know? Sorry to cut you, but I need to ask you one question. Did you know? Were you aware that the Oscars was even happening?
Nope.
No, this is what I mean, and this is why I thought it was a joke to make, because nobody was aware that the Oscars was happening. It's a boring thing until something happens. Sorry, go ahead. I just had to ask.
Oh no. I agree. I wasn't, because I never watched the Oscars. I don't. No. I never watched them. That's why it wasn't a big deal for me. I may watch the Grammys because I'm more of a music guy. So I may watch the Grammys, but I didn't know, and I thought it was like a joke. So I want to add this particular component on. The reaction of the people around Will Smith at the awards is also what caught my eye. He went on stage and he assaulted somebody, which is what it was. And people at that award ceremony were almost more concerned about Will than they were about Chris Rock. And Chris Rock was the guy that got slapped.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think, but you know what? like I tried to touch on this on a pod that we did a few weeks ago, but I didn't want to go in too deep with it because I knew I was going to be having a conversation with you. I was adamant this conversation was going to happen because I knew I needed to have it. I with Will, I think that, you know, the nation feels deeply sorry for this guy because, you know, we might laugh at the, you know, the joke side of it and, you know, the memes that are flying around and the things that everyone's saying. But realistically, when we take all that away, when we look at it deeply, Will is a broken man. This guy is emotionally damaged. He's been torn down by this narcissistic woman. And obviously we're going to go into that. But I think at that moment, you know, when he said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth, and he said it again, but I don't think it was the words that he said, it was the emotion that came with it. It was, you could hear a pin drop after he said it. So I think it was the emotion, and I think it was in that moment that that audience and the whole nation, the world saw that Will, how broken he actually is. You know, the guy's been through a lot over the past, you know, it's just been crazy.
It's like, to me, what it felt like, and before I go into that, I want to say what I didn't know as well, and I've literally just found this out maybe literally after this debacle happened. I did not know that Chris Rock suffered from NLVD,
yes,
and he's autistic. And
yes.
So I don't know a lot about autism. So when I went and researched it, autistic people, they can't pick up on nonverbal cues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leading to something with this. This is why when you saw Will Smith walk up on stage, Chris is like laughing and leaning his head forward because unlike you and I, he can't sense this is a tense situation. This guy is not playing. He's coming towards you in an aggressive manner. And when I saw the footage of Chris Rock when he was backstage, they showed him after he got slapped. And he, you know, and Chris Rock grew up his whole life dealing with bullies, being abandoned, having people side against him, having, you know, he would get beat up by the popular kid and everybody would support and get around the popular kid as he's over here, you know, humiliated, beaten, assaulted, right? And it's funny that him as a 57-year-old man, he has to relive childhood trauma in a night where he's victimized by another celebrity, one of his peers. And so that's the thing too. People talk about Jada's alopecia, which I didn't know nothing about. I don't follow her that closely. But Will Smith attacked a man essentially with a learning disorder. And to me, it was sad. I want to ask you, as a woman, how do you feel about people trying to frame it as he was protecting Black women?
No.
That was the thing that people were putting out there. What is your opinion on that?
No, absolutely not. And when I saw that, it angered me because I was like, no, hold up a minute. How are you going to try and make this about, okay, so partially somewhere, yes, it's about race, because we all know that things would have been different if Chris Rock was a white man. We know that, let's be honest. But it was like, why are you trying to make this about, you know, oh, but it's a Black man protecting a Black woman? No, it was nothing to do with that. Jada Pinkett, she is a disgrace to Black women. I do not identify with her. She is so toxic. I believe that she was in that moment, she basked in that moment to see, she knows she's already broken her man anyway. So to have him there humiliating himself, because that's what he did, he humiliated himself by doing this, assaulting, you know, another Black man. It's just, there's so many things wrong with that statement. You know, he was protecting a Black woman. No, That's not what it was. I didn't look at it from that angle. And I tried to look at it from that angle and thought, but no, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. He humiliated himself, and it was nothing to do with protecting his wife. All it was that I believe that he was trying to display masculine energy because she's demeaned him and she's put him down so much over the past few years. So he thought, by me displaying my masculine energy and protecting my wife and being there for my wife, standing up for my wife, let me just go and do this. Because we all know, like, say for instance, say that was like, who can I say? Mike Tyson. Say that was Mike Tyson who did that. Do you think Will Smith would have got out of his seat and gone and slapped Mike Tyson in the face? No, he wouldn't have. So he knows that Chris Rock is vulnerable. He knows that Chris Rock is not the type to. He wouldn't retaliate. He wouldn't, because even though I didn't know what it was that Chris Rock had, but he always has displayed traits of autism. There's a slight delay there.
Yeah.
Delay in certain things. He's quick and witty and funny with his profession, being a comedian, but when it comes to certain things, you can see, and even if you watch the series Everybody Hates Chris, you can kind of see through the timeline there was a delay. So Will Smith knew that he could do that in that moment, but he was never going to get a congratulations from anybody. And I think he knew that in the moment that he did, after he sat down and he shouted, I think he knew, oh shit, I fucked up. It
made me, and I made a video. I said we have to form a framework around what it means to protect Black women, because the way I always interpreted protect Black women is that, okay, Black women that I know that have businesses, support them, get behind them. Black women that I know that are brilliant, make great leaders, support their leadership. And in extreme circumstances where she may be physically in danger, I step up to be that masculine energy and that protector. That's the way I've always interpreted it. But I also think it's this: hurt people hurt people. He's been emasculated and he wants to emasculate another man. He wants a man to share his pain. And this is done from a subconscious level. He wants to emasculate a man like he's been emasculated. And as you pointed out, Jada Pinkett, this is something that people, all of these people that are saying like, oh, we applauding Will for protecting Jada. I don't know if you saw the article. Jada came out and said Will overreacted. And you can't tell me that. I think it's a few different things. I think one, I don't think she's ever loved Will Smith.
No.
And then another thing, I think that there's a little bit of competition there. I think she's jealous of the way Will's career has turned out and how hers has turned out. And wouldn't she pick the most important moment of his life, of his career, to encourage him to go and do something that would tarnish his legacy forever? This is something that is textbook narcissism.
She definitely wanted the spotlight to be on her. She took away his shine, man. Like, she knew what she was doing. I fully believe that this woman woke up that morning and said, I'm going to fuck up his shit tonight. She said that because she is that type of woman. I'm not sure. I don't follow her. I don't watch her or anything, but I made in my business at one point, when it came out about the fact that they've got an open marriage and those things, I made in my business go and watch a few of her, red table talks. The woman is the most narcissistic. She's actually borderline evil. I believe this woman is some form of demon because she doesn't love him, and she will do anything to take away his power, to take away his divine masculine. And you can see that he loves her, and his emotion is there. Everything is there, but she is just she doesn't give a shit. I watched something today. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I believe you've seen it. But I watched something today, and it was like a previous Red Table Talk that they did. And it was with Will, Jada, her mother, and their daughter, Willow. And he was saying that, you know, on her 37th birthday, he already made plans for her 40th birthday party. And it was going to be this big extravaganza. And he was going to make sure he wanted like Mary J. Blige to be there singing and all those kind of things. And then when he was like, you know, pulling it all together, her reaction and what she said, her response to it was, it's a bit over the top. There's no need. And he was broken. He actually said, I was broken when she said that. And she also said to him, this is how you know the woman is a narcissist. She also said to him, it's just a typical reflection of your ego. That's what she said to him.
Can I let me point this out too. Another thing to be noted, because I saw that same video. Look at the body language of everybody at that table when Will was talking. When you look at his daughter, she was looking at Will like he was a dweeb or a dork. Remember how she was looking at him? Jada's mother and Jada, they're looking at Will like he's the loser at the table. And you remember when he said that point where he said, Jada said that this is just a massive display of your own ego? His daughter's like, and kind of like, that's like, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, this woman is insatiable. No matter what, and what the war that Will has, what it looks like to us from the outside looking in, he is battling the ghost of another man for the heart of his wife. He's trying to become, and I think when he attacked Chris Rock, and keep in mind, Will Smith is an actor. I think him attacking Chris Rock was like, maybe if I go hyper masculine, this will be the thing to get my wife to love me. If I go up here and slap this man, she'll finally love me now. I bet this is the thing. He's trying to do any and everything he can to get her validation, and she won't give it to him because, and listen, I'm gonna be a little transparent. I've been in that situation where I'm trying to get the love of a woman that doesn't love me. And I feel Will's pain. I've been there because you want her to love you so much. And no matter what you do, it's not enough because you cannot satisfy somebody that has disdain for you.
I understand. I totally. When you said that, then I ain't no Jada, you know, I really ain't. But I'm not a perfect person. And in my younger years, you know, one of my very first relationships, I was with somebody that loved me way more than I loved them. And I did kind of, you know, I did bring down his masculine energy and, you know, made him feel that he wasn't man enough. There were certain things that I did as a woman. We know what to do as a woman, you know, and we feel like that maybe it will either make them man up or it's just they become you kind of just bully them in a way, and it doesn't always start out like that. I believe with Jada it's intentional. It's definitely an intentional thing because that's the vibe she gives. But it, you know, for me when I was in that situation, it didn't start off like that. But I just thought, well, and then the more he was trying to prove his masculinity to me, the more I was just really horrible to him. But then that was because I had issues myself with, you know, the male, with men. Just men in general, I had a problem anyway. So, you know, I was dealing with certain traumas of my own, and he was also as well trying to display this whole masculine energy and be the man and, you know, those kind of things. And it does happen, but I think what she's doing is that typical narcissistic gaslighting, you know, energy that she is putting out there. Everybody can see it. We can all see. I even watched an interview, like it was a part of an interview with Tupac, and he was saying, she's my friend, and, you know, she'll always have a place in my heart, but she's my friend. He made it very clear that he would never have any kind of relationship with this woman because it was almost like he could see what she was or who she is. So, yeah, I just think it's really sad the way that she's the way that she's brought that man down is different. And people are saying, yeah, but they've got an open relationship and he knows what it is. No, I don't believe it's anything to do with that.
I disagree with that. I'm going to say this. If the concept that him and Will, that Jada, the concept that Jada and Will had a agreed upon open relationship is bullshit. The
Of
reason
course.
why it's bullshit is because why would you need to have a red table talk about something you guys already agreed on? Why
Exactly.
at the red table talk did Will look like he hasn't slept in 72 hours? Will looked depressed. He looked
Mm.
distraught. He looked like he had just finished crying. So what I think it is, her 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 level of narcissism, it goes so deep that for Will to save face from public humiliation, he was like, yeah, we were in an open relationship at the time. I don't believe that. I think he said it to save face. And you know the other thing too that got me? You remember the clip from the Red Table Talk when they were talking about the August Alsina situation?
Yes.
And Will was saying like, yeah, I guess this is one of those situations where I'm gonna be on the podium with you and be like, yeah, I support my baby despite her transgressions. Jada immediately replied, well, I don't consider it a transgression. What?
This woman is evil.
And did you notice on the Red Table Talk, it was almost like she was glowing. She looked,
Yeah.
her skin was gleaming. She
She
looked
was shining
healthy.
in that moment because she was having her moment and she's like, yeah, look at this is me and I'm in control and I control everything we do in this relationship. I don't believe that they have an open relationship. I don't even believe that Will went with any other women. I just believe that he, agreed with certain things and said, yeah, we'll have this open relationship so she could do her thing because she was going to do her thing regardless. The woman is crazy. And, and then I think, in regards to it, I also as well saw a video about her alopecia. And then there was a surgeon, a cosmetic surgeon, who actually he confirmed because she was saying about the scar that she's got on her head. But a cosmetic surgeon said that was from where she's had a facelift and she's had all kinds of, plastic surgery. That is not alopecia. It's not anything to do with
Wow.
alopecia. I just don't believe the bitch. Like, I'm just gonna say it. I'll put it out here now. I don't believe her. Don't believe that she's got alopecia. And even if she did have alopecia, it's still not an excuse to be such a shitty person. She's a
Yeah.
shitty person, and she's been horrible to this man who actually loves her. And she's also as well taught his children. She's taught his children to disrespect him also as well. And also as well, I'm going to touch on something. I don't know if I'm being a bit controversial here,
Oh no, go
but
ahead.
I just feel like, see the way that she is with her children. Like, I'm very open with my child, but there are certain things that I don't discuss with my child about my personal life. I don't discuss my sex life with my child.
Mm.
I don't discuss sexuality with my child in the sense of, I tell her, what to do sexually with a man or with a woman, or it's okay. And I also, she kind of forces feminine energy onto her son and then kind of forces masculine energy onto her daughter. That's how it comes across to me. There's nothing wrong with anybody's gender, like, anybody's
Yeah, yeah.
sexuality, gender, rather. But when you're forcing it on your children from a young age, I believe those children have seen and heard things that they ain't supposed to see and hear.
Is ain't well, do you remember it was on the Red Table Talk, and this was recent, where she said, Jada said out of her own mouth that when she was 9, her grandmother showed her how to masturbate. So now that that presents a whole plethora of questions because I'm thinking, when you're interacting with a 9-year-old, I can teach you, like, like when I was a kid, when I was 9, my grandma would show me how to like help her out in the kitchen. I knew how to maybe bake some biscuits or something like that. You
Yeah.
show little kids stuff like that when they know how to clean up. This is how you do the lawn if you're with your grandfather or whatever. I have to ask what type of intergenerational trauma there is going on there
Yeah.
where it's all of this it's like that whole family, they operate from a misaligned root chakra energy. It's like
Yeah.
everything is base level, everything is about sex, but it's not a healthy sexual energy.
No.
It's misaligned. And so I have to wonder what was going on with your grandmother. It's like, I need to show a 9-year-old how to pleasure themselves. That, to me, that's all types of red flags right there.
100%. It's a red flag within itself. Even if you just look back on Jada Pinkett, like from way back, she always kind of, there's a way of doing things, and for me, I just feel like she always displayed kind of masculine energy. Even the part she played when, in the films that she did, she always kept, to me, everyone used to say, oh, Jada Pinkett, Jada Pinkett. But I never ever saw it. I will always say when a woman's beautiful. I will always say when a woman is attractive. But I just never got that energy from her. There was always something quite strange about her. And also as well, there was a story that kind of surfaced, but it didn't really go anywhere. I don't know why. But you remember Crisscross?
Yeah.
The one made an allegation that Jada interfered with him when he was I think when he was like 15 years of age. There was one after this, I will send you the link to it, but it didn't really go anywhere. So
wow.
I don't know what happened with that story, but it didn't go anywhere. But I mean, who knows? They could have been paid off, whatever. It could have been so many things. But I've always got, it's just a bad vibe. She's bad vibes. She really is bad vibes. And I think she loves the drama. She loves to be able to sit there. And she was almost, after Will, she watched her husband, having this breakdown on national television, and she was gloating. She was smiling. Her whole energy was like, yeah, yeah, because I'm that powerful. And it's not power, it's just sick, really.
She's definitely sadistic in how she handles Will Smith, because I think all of this she's proud of, because you have to think, like a few years ago, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, Wendy Williams had came out and she had said something, because at that time Method Man's wife was dealing with cancer, and she had leaked something about that, and Method Man was like, yo, I'm gonna come and smack Wendy Williams because that's my personal stuff or business or whatever, right? People were like, all right, Meth, you don't have to, he didn't actually go and do it, of course, but his wife stood by his side.
Yeah.
And this kind of lets me know that she wants to see the destruction of Will Smith. When people are trying to say like they're team Will and they are on Will's side, his wife is not team Will. His wife is not on his side. His wife wants to see his destruction. No way in the world a woman that loves you is going to ever put you in a position where your career could get ruined, where you can lose millions of dollars. She does not love Will. Why are we applauding toxic relationships? Why are we applauding the manipulation of a good man? That's what when we say we support what Will did, we're supporting Jada's narcissistic manipulation of Will Smith. That's 100%. What we're unintentionally saying, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is what it is. Society now is we are led to believe this toxicity, that especially the toxic traits that women are displaying, and I'm going to speak on that, because women are displaying some toxic shit. You got all these city girls, this city girl mentality, this, bringing a man down, tearing him down, and women will come back and say, well, men have been doing it for years. Like, that is not a way you do not fight fire with fire. You don't do that. It has to come to a point where you break that toxic cycle. You cannot sit there and say, and I'll talk specifically about Black men because that's what I'm attracted to, and being a Black woman because that's who I am. We cannot sit there and say that, Black men have been doing this for years, so it's our turn. Because how are we ever going to end that cycle? How am I supposed to, even me as a Black mother, to a Black girl, even my daughter, at one point she said to me, oh, Black men, they're not it. And I said to her, you can't have that mentality, because not all Black men are the same. Same as not all white men are the same. Same as no men are the same. Everybody's different. Indeed. But I just think that it's there. It's on social media. It's out there now that we have to, as Black women, treat men like shit in order to get them to respect us. We have to tear down their divine masculine in order to get them to worship us, when realistically, that's not what it is. That's not what we have to do. But then when you got women like Jada Pinkett Smith, unfortunately, there are women who look at her and they're congratulating her. And they're saying, yes, she got that man on lock. That is not a good way to, it's not a relationship. It's not love. It's not marriage. It's not, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what to call it, but it's more like it's control. And she has ripped him apart. She really has. I would love to, do you know what would like interest me? I'd love to see what his ex-wife has got to say. Or, you know, I'd love to see what she would have to say about it, because she hasn't said anything.
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing is that when you're dealing with a person that, you know, I mean, we could say that she's a narcissist. I believe so. You know, I don't know if she's been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, but what I will say is this. When you interact with someone like that, they're going to gradually eat away at your self-esteem to where you forget who you really are. And I noticed at the Oscars how other women looked at Will Smith. Like when like you look at Nia Long or any, like I remember I saw something where Tracy Ellis Ross was interacting with Will Smith. They look at Will Smith like he's a king. They're like enamored by Will Smith. His wife never looks at him like that.
No.
I've never seen a period where they put a microphone in front of his wife and she says anything uplifting to her husband.
No.
She never speaks highly of Will Smith. And so I just don't understand how people are supporting a toxic marriage. I remember when last year, now think about this now, this is his wife. Last year when it came out that Will Smith was going to get nominated for the Best Actor Award, Jada Pinkett gets on Twitter and she tweets, "Congratulations to Will Smith." Is that something that as a wife, you're going to tweet about a wife would tweet something like, "Hey, my king, my boo, my baby," getting a shout out to him, all that. Her response was, "Congratulations to Will Smith."
Because she's weird. Listen, the woman is strange. She wanted to take that shine away from him. She didn't want him to have Oscar. She doesn't listen, she is jealous of the way that the world loves her husband. So if she could be jealous of the way the world loves her husband, how is she ever going to love him? The woman she needs help. I really believe she needs some deep, intensive therapy because she's quite damaged. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know what, it always seems to be a flock of women around her. Everything is this feminine energy. But to me, it's toxic feminine energy.
Yeah.
It's really toxic because you got her mother, height. I will tell you now, my mother loves me. She loves me with all of her heart, and she will do anything to protect me. She will always be on my side, and she will always stick up for me. But one thing she will never allow me to do is to humiliate another human being, whether it be a man or a woman. And I know that if me as a mother, I would never let my child treat a man like that. Never. Yeah. What her mum is not saying anything. Her mum just sits there and smiles and allows her to do whatever she's doing. So it's there. It's already there. It was put out there. That's the way she's been brought up. Her grandmother, she claims her grandmother showed her how to, taught her how to masturbate. There's the toxic energy right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was never going to be good. Once this is why I think when you get into a relationship with somebody, even you need to find out what it is that makes them tick. You need to find out about their background, their upbringing, what makes them happy, what keeps them awake at night, what their favorite color is. You need to find out every single piece of information because somewhere you're gonna find those red flags if you ask the relevant questions, if you get to know the person. I believe that Will was just totally mesmerized by Jada from the beginning because she was this icon that everyone's like, oh my god, it's Jada Pinkett, when in reality Jada Pinkett ain't shit.
But see, that's what they do. That negative kind of parasitic energy, mm-hmm. that narcissism, they're gonna look glittery. They're like the what do they call them? Like they're the sirens. They can sing. beautiful, but they're pulling you in because they got to live off of your life force. And I think what Will has right now, he has three energies around him that they have to have a parasitic relationship with his energy. And see, the danger, Jada Pinkett kind of lucked up because Will is one of those guys that believes in traditional values. He believes in, I'm going to be there for my wife. I'm going to give my all to my wife. And I'm going to give my all to my children. In theory, that's a good thing. But unfortunately, he's around people that are going to exploit that. And when I look at those red table talks, when I look at the fact, let's not forget, your daughter writes a letter to Tupac saying, me and my mommy, we miss you, and we wish you would come back so my mommy could finally be happy. Your daughter never met Tupac. She wrote this as a small child. So what information is Willow getting to even inspire her to write a letter to a man she's never met in the house that her dad is paying the bills for?
This is what I mean. This is where Jada is toxic, because she's planting those seeds, and any which way she can tear that man down, she is doing it. She is even using, the memory of a deceased man. Like Tupac was a legend, but she's using his memory to rip away and tear away, chip away at her husband's masculine energy. Any man, any man that loves a woman, or any man who, is interested in a woman and knows that he isn't, there's another man that he's got to be in competition with, that's going to make a man feel like shit anyway. But imagine if the guy you're in competition with is dead. Like, imagine that. Imagine you got a whole wife and you're competing with a dead guy for your wife's love and affection. That shit is crazy. The woman is, Will, get out. Get out, Will.
I want to get online so bad one day and be like, Will's filed divorce. I just want to see, I want to see that he divorce this woman and get away from her, because you notice every point. Oh, here's another thing. Did you see the red table talk that she had with Gwyneth Paltrow and her mom there? And basically,
even Gwyneth Paltrow was like, shit.
Yeah, and she basically kind of alluded to Will not being good in bed. That's basically what she was. That's what I'm like. Everything that involves controversy in Will's life is tied to her.
Yes.
If you take her aside, we've never heard nothing bad about Will. Everybody has great things to say. She is the source of the problem. He needs to divorce her.
Yeah.
Divorce. 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 That has to happen. For real.
It does. And it's because it is so sad, to sit back and watch a man just in this relationship with this woman who is tearing him down. She clearly does not love him. The whole world and this dog knows that this woman does not love this man. She wouldn't be half of who she is if it wasn't for Will. And she knows that. She wouldn't. I don't even think she would be that relevant. She ain't even really all that, really. She ain't done shit, really. She's done, a couple of films or whatever. But I just don't rate the woman. She would not, she has used him to carry her. Anything that she has is because of him. Like, nobody would watch. Would people realistically watch her red table talks if she wasn't Jada Pinkett Smith? I don't think so. I just don't think she ain't shit, really. And I just think Will, he's been having this emotional breakdown for many years right in front of our eyes. And I think the media has just made so many memes and so many jokes and so many things out of this. For now, like, this guy's done this now. It was going to result. He was going to do something. I was waiting for something to happen, but I just didn't know it was going to be this. And at the Oscars too, that shit is crazy. But what is going to happen? What happens now?
Well, apparently, I saw an article today, and it said that Chris Rock has been really quiet.
Yeah.
And the article said Chris Rock said he's going to be quiet until he gets paid.
Until he gets paid. I don't blame him.
Also, they were talking about it on I think on DL Hughley or Ricky
Yeah.
Smiley, one of those shows, that apparently Chris Rock has been seen meeting with some like super big time attorney out in LA. So
Rightly so.
because a lot of times if you're building a case, a lawyer is going to be like, hey, be quiet, don't go out, just let us build this case and get the lawsuits popping off. So, I don't know what Chris Rock plans to do, but speaking about Chris Rock, he was the reason why the police didn't arrest Will Smith. He said no. When they said, do you want to, he said no. So it's funny that people are pro Will, but it was Chris Rock that said, hey, don't arrest this guy. Don't do that.
Chris is a lovely guy. I felt for him. I really felt for him because it was embarrassing, it was degrading, it was low, it was shitty what Will did, and he knows that. He knows what he did was low. To go and put your hands on another person, just so that you look, like the bigger guy, or that you're more masculine, or I'm using my masculine energy to win my girl over. We ain't in high school. This is not what it is. That's your whole wife, and she should respect you regardless. Shouldn't have to go and put your hands on another man in order to make your wife respect you. And that's where I lost respect for Will Smith. And I just thought, your wife just played you. She played you in front of the whole nation.
Yeah. And I think they stopped production on Bad Boys 4. One of his Netflix movies got canceled.
Yeah.
There's a lot of projects he had coming up on the horizon. And here's a prediction I'm about to make right now. This is my prediction. I don't think Will is ever going to get to the point where he's like, without a penny. That's not going to happen.
No, but he's going to get canceled.
I think his career is going to start to decline. And once he's in decline mode, Jada's going to divorce him.
100%.
It's coming.
She'll be like, you ain't worth anything. No, you're not worth anything to me.
Let like another 3-4 years go past and he ain't really in no big movies or nothing like that, she's going to wash her hands and she's going to walk away. She's going to initiate that divorce, and she's going to get alimony, and she's going to take half of everything. Sometimes I wonder, right? And since you're a person where, we get into a lot of conversations about karma, good energy, spirituality. Like, I wonder if on a spiritual level, how can I put this? Like, everybody has to have like some sort of Achilles heel. And what I mean by that is, if you took Jada Pinkett out of Will Smith's life, he would be perfect. There would like literally be nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, is there a cosmic reason? Because you think about Will Smith, right? He could have married anybody. He could get, but is there something, maybe to us on the outside, we can't comprehend it, but is there some like cosmic or karmic lesson that Will is gaining out of this that we just don't understand? Because us, we're like, this shit makes no sense at all. It's just weird to me.
It's some crazy shit, man. Sometimes I believe, we've all been in relationships or whatever, and then sometimes we might come out of it and think, shit, that shit was toxic. What did I do to attract this? Because it's not what we intentionally put out into the universe. We don't say nobody says to the universe that, dear universe, I want this toxic relationship with this toxic person and I want everything to be fucked up. Nobody says that. But I believe sometimes the universe does send us karmic lessons. It does send us the same lessons until we learn, and shit gets worse and worse and worse and worse until we actually learn and say, hey, you know what, I've had enough. Let me just, I've learned my lesson. Let me just walk away from this. And I'm praying that he learns whatever he's supposed to learn. And I'm also praying as well that he heals whatever needs healing within himself in order to get away from this person. Because when we take away all the memes and all the laughing and all the whatever, this shit is not funny. This is quite scary because like you've gone and had children with this type of person. And when it's not until he comes away from this situation or he breaks away from this woman that he's actually going to see how toxic she is. When he looks back and watches everything back, he's like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
wild. Like, look what she did with August. Look what she did. And she, up to now, she ain't giving no apology. She don't give a shit. Like, this woman don't care.
And that kid, that August Alsina kid, this kid was dealing with mental health and drug issues. It's like she was a predator. Like she wanted pleasure, and she like, and that's the thing that makes this even more messed up. You could have dated anybody, Jada Pinkett, but you went after your son's friend. You could have went after anybody in Hollywood, but you was like, nah, I'm gonna date my son's friend. And Chidi, this is the part that bothers me so much to the people that are behind what this man did. Are y'all not seeing all of this fucked up shit that Jada has done to fuck up this man's mental health, his public image? She has continuously made this man look like a fool in public, and nobody's taking that into account.
And this is what I'm saying. It's like, but it's crazy because people will forget all that shit and they'll only remember that one thing that Will did. And this is what she's done. This is what narcissists do. Narcissists will commit a murder and nobody will really speak on it or say anything because they're almost too afraid to, because of how the narcissist acts. But then when, the narcissist partner slips up once, makes a mistake or does something, little blip, it's like, oh, did you see what he did? Did you see what he did? But then you've got the narcissist saying, I know, right? Really bad, right? It's so terrible. Like, I ain't supporting this. I don't support what he did. And that's what she's doing. Like, nobody, it just makes me, it just frustrates me that nobody's talking about it. No one's saying why, like, the fact that this woman is toxic. I did see one thread, and sometimes I'll go into the comments because I like to see what other people think. And there are a large portion of, of the population that knows that this woman is bad vibes. But it's almost like this act that Will has done now, the fact that he assaulted another man, it kind of overrides everything that she's done. So it's almost like anything that she's done, it ain't happened. Yeah. It hasn't happened. It's only this one thing that Will has done. And this is what, it's like, it's really like, it's quite detrimental to Will as well, because we don't know how vulnerable he is or how, where he's actually at in his mental state. Anything could happen. And this is where it's quite dangerous. And yeah, I don't know. This woman needs to be, it's almost like she ain't committed no crimes, she ain't broken no laws, but she's spiritually and emotionally and mentally, she's broken every rule in the book. It's crazy.
And, I saw the article about how she cried on the wedding day because she really didn't want to get married to Will. And I'm going to say this, they need to separate for both parties. Jada should find her a man that fits the frame of masculine energy that she wants. She needs that in her life. Yeah. And Will needs peace. He should be around people that love him. And I'm going to tell you this, people may disagree with me. People may say that I'm wrong. But from the Red Table Talks I've seen, from the interviews I've seen, Jaden, Willow, and Jada do not love that man.
They do.
I think what Will Smith is for them, he's a source of income. They know, like, hey, the bill's going to get paid. I can go to dad for a quick $50,000 to do some bullshit album or whatever. We have dad here for that. But if you take money away, I don't think they care about that. And then to your point about Jada, do you remember some years ago, she had started like a rock band?
Yeah.
Did you know Will Smith paid people to go to her shows because nobody was going?
No one was going.
These are the things this man has done for this woman.
Because he loves his family. He loves his wife and he loves his family, and they don't love him and they don't respect him. They really don't. There's no respect there. I'm sorry. No. That's what I see.
No, it's none whatsoever, and it just it bothers me, and listen, I think you and I share similar sentiments about this whole situation. But I want to segue. You had reached out to me also, and you were talking about it was another topic that I had covered that you wanted to speak on. So I saw a few that was similar. So I'm gonna let you spark this off. What was that thing that I said? I think it was something about,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and we can
so yeah,
build on
so
that for
you
a
were
little bit.
talking. What was it you were talking about? Or you were saying about masculine and feminine energy, like kind of being in competition with one another, and who is the most dominant, I think it was, or who should be the most dominant.
So yeah, so I think I know what you're talking about. So this situation actually inspired me doing that, right?
Okay.
And so actually, excuse me, I actually put that. I think it was on the last No Truths Barred episode, I believe. Um, but yeah, so my whole point is this: we there are a lot of women that say that they hate the patriarchy, okay, and that the patriarchy needs to fall. And I understand these arguments. And so in my mind, the way my mind works is that I'm looking at, well, what is a new world going to look like? What does this new future look like, right? And what I'm starting to notice is that people are picking up terms like I'm an alpha male or I'm an alpha female, right? And these women will be the same ones downing the patriarchy, but then you still want to hold on to those standards of how you value another human going forward. So I'm like, is it that you hate the patriarchy or you hate the fact that you don't control it? Because I'm like, if you hate it, we should be trying to build a new system, a way of life where, we're all are benefiting from it. I don't know what that would look like, but it should be something new. And so the competition aspect comes from this is that people are like, well, I'm an alpha male and my woman needs to submit to me. I'm an alpha male and I need to dominate and lead in certain and whatnot. And then I've seen women say, like, well, I'm an alpha female and I intimidate men. I guess my point is, why is it as human beings, the goal is to intimidate and to dominate instead of work together?
Messed up. It's crazy, and this is what it is. I think it goes back to where women are trying to get even and men are trying to gain back that power again because they feel that they've lost that power. And all this shit about alpha male, alpha female. Nah, you need to squash all that. It is about coming together. It is about working together. Yeah, we have strong women, and yes, we have strong men. But that doesn't give you the right to give yourself a title of being alpha. Because if a lot of people who call themselves alpha, if they actually look up the term alpha, they don't even fit the bill. Alpha is very much driven by ego, I believe. That whole term. It's like, don't get me wrong, there are times where men do need to be dominant, or when women want men to be dominant.
Oh, of course.
Like me, for example, I'm a strong Black woman. I do everything by myself. I pay my bills. I work hard. I'm the breadwinner in my household, or, I'm the single mom or whatever. But when it comes to, I would love for, a man to say, do you know what? You don't have to do this week. I'll do it, kind of thing. So sometimes women do need men to be dominant in that sense, but it's not a dominance that is going to, drag them down or demeanor them or make them feel any less of a person than less of a woman than they are. And then I think with women being, alpha females again, it's ego. Like, you're just trying to prove something, and you're just saying, I'm the strong woman and I will get men to submit to me. And no, it's weird. And I know
Yeah.
this concept has come from somewhere. It's awful. I think it's been glamorized. I really think it's been glamorized.
Yeah, so, and I understand that because in certain cases, I've dated women and it's funny, like I had an ex and I remember the very first date we went on, I already had it in my mind, I just kind of had that personality at times. I don't consider myself no alpha. I'm Hoyt. That's all I am at the end of the day, right? But we went out and I just had it in mind, like, we're going to go here, we're going to go here, we're going to do this. This is going to be how, and I kind of laid the day out. And I remember, like, because we had started off, we went to the museum, then we went bowling, and we went to dinner.
Sounds like a great day.
Yeah. And so after we left the bowling alley and we were going to dinner, she was like, I'm just not used to this. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you just took charge and planned the day. I always have to do that when I go out with a guy. And I didn't really think nothing of it. So the way I look at, I mean, if you want to use these terms, alpha and beta, if that's how you want to classify yourself, the way I look at it is that women and the feminine principle have certain strengths that complement men, and the masculine principle, we have certain strengths that complement one another, and we come together and we form, these families, we form these lineages genetically. But I don't look at it like, when I talk to some guys, I think some dudes want to date kids instead of a woman. Like, you don't want a woman that's intelligent. You don't want a woman that has her own opinion on stuff. You don't want to, like what do you want a woman just to sit in the corner and just be like, yeah, no, yeah,
some
no.
men do. Yeah, some men do.
Yeah.
They really do.
So I'm wary of these guys who like, I gotta have a woman to what is she submitting to? What is it? What is she submitting to at the end of the day? What? Like, dude, calm down.
You know what I think it is? I think a lot of those men who say, my woman needs to submit to me, she needs to say yes sir, no sir, this, those type of men, yes, because they know they ain't shit. So they want women who are just going to submit to them because they ain't really got much to offer. So they just want to feel that that they're dominant and they're the man, and they want to feel that way because they know they ain't got nothing else to offer. And then I think the men who actually deserve, if we're going to do that, then the men who actually do deserve that kind of treatment, or that, that's, whatever, they don't get it. They actually get pulled down. They actually get torn down by these women because they're like, hold on a minute. Like, what, you think I'm gonna cater to you? You think I'm gonna honor you? No, I'm not gonna do that because I'm an alpha female. There's an imbalance somewhere, and I think people are not looking at it. They're forgetting that if you've got a man and you've got a woman and you come together, you work together, and you are on the same page and on the same frequency, and there's a balance, then it will work easily without having these titles of I'm the alpha male and I'm the alpha female. People are not understanding. And as I said before, it's because it's been televised and glamorized. I always say that television and media and all those kind of things has played a big part in, tearing each other down, tearing each gender down. It's crazy shit, man.
Yeah, and we perpetuate it despite how toxic it is, despite how counterproductive it is. We get behind these things, these concepts of being a beta or alpha, this, and I'm just like, what happened to just being decent people?
What happened to that?
Sometimes in life, I don't need to be around alphas or betas or whatever. I just want to be around cool people where the energy is dope. That's it. If it's a good vibe, the energy is dope, I'm in there. I don't need to go into a room of people and feel like I'm the leader or I'm the alpha. I don't need to feel that. My ego doesn't need that. But I think another thing too, a part of this is social media, because social media, I think, this is my theory. I don't know what your take is on this. I think, like, I would argue, I don't know if this is the truth, I would argue that between the years of 2015 and 2022, because of social media, more narcissists have been produced in this time period than any other time in human history. Because guess what? It's like, I need my followers to be more than yours. I need to get more comments to you. I need to get more likes to you. I gotta, it's this weird competition that everybody is in with one another. And it's like, it's no point. If you want to post something, do it because you feeling it. You enjoy it. Don't do it because you got this fictive competition in your head and you got to beat out people that follow you. Just post something because that's you. You're sharing a moment with people. That's it,
Yeah.
you know? But social media is like, it's crazy. And then you got people like going back to Jada Pinkett. She made a video that was so weird and peculiar recently. And I didn't even know what she was saying. It was just like, she was saying stuff like, yeah, when things get real, those that's supposed to be down, where do they go? It was like cryptic shit like that she was saying in the video on her Instagram. And I'm just like,
She's a weird ass woman. Yeah, she's a weird ass woman. And I just think that, you know, you see it all the time. It's happening between the different genders now. It's happening between men and women. It's like, okay, so a man will post something and he will get all these likes and all this support and all these comments and his ego will be boosted. And then a woman will override him and then people will be saying, oh shit, but the women are really killing it now. The women are doing this. And then their ego will be bruised, so they will come with a comeback. And then they all start doing it. It's like, yeah, we outshine the women for a little bit. And the women will come back, and it's a constant battle. It's a constant fight. It's a constant competition. It would be like me and you. We both have our own podcasts, yeah? And it would be like, well, I ain't going to go on Hoyt's platform because why should I bring the energy of my podcast onto his? And why should he bring his onto mine when we're supposed to be fighting against each other? When in reality, that just sounds dumb, but that's what's happening out there. And it doesn't, instead of people looking and saying, hang on a minute, this shit is dumb, they're actually entertaining this whole concept is that we have to battle against each other. Luckily, because me and you are more awakened and more aware and more, you know, on a different frequency than just the average, we can come together like this and have conversations like this. And we can put that energy out there. And thank God there are other people out there who will do the same. But unfortunately, the vast majority are still sleeping. There's only that 10% that are awake. And I think it's getting better now. But even that, you know, even when it comes to terms of people saying, you know, I'm doing this out of love, I'm doing this out of light, there's still ego there. The ego hasn't died. And I think until the ego is destroyed, and it's never going to be 100% destroyed because we all need a little bit of ego in order to move forward in life. But I think until it's more soul over ego, then this is going to be the problem for years and years and years to come.
I think, and you know, to that point of people doing all of these different things, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen videos or footage where a person would be like, hey, I have a sandwich I'm giving this homeless person. Take a picture of me giving them the sandwich or giving them money and put it to my IG. Instead of just giving them the damn sandwich, give them the money. You don't have to do a photo op for that. You don't have to. And when you look at it, this is what I told a friend of mine. I was telling her, I said, what I'm trying to do, I haven't successfully done it because we're all a work in progress. I'm trying to just look at my ego as a tool. When I need to use it, I use it. When I don't, I put it back on the shelf. That's how I'm trying to look at my ego. Like, okay, cool. You know, in a way, there are times where you kind of have to have that demeanor. Like, I'm the shit. I'm that guy. I'm that dude. You got to kind of have that demeanor sometimes. You can't always be in, oh, well, you know, I'm super humble. Sometimes you got to turn on just a little bit. But there are a lot of times where you just need to be cool. You need to be. So look at your ego as a tool. But what happens is we define ourselves by our ego and our achievements and accomplishments. And that becomes who we are. And we don't look at it as just being one of the things that constitutes who we are. We look at it as being the entirety of who we are. And that's when we bump into problems.
Yes. No, 100%. I totally agree. I think we do it, you know, in the workplace. We're like, I'm going to do this because other people are going to see me as doing this and they're going to think I'm the shit for doing this. So I'm going to do it. And we're not really doing it because I think we start off, I think the intentions are good, but then ego takes over, and it's almost like having that devil on your shoulder saying, yeah, do this because you're gonna be number one. Everyone's gonna look at you. Everyone's gonna love you if you do this. This is why I think people sometimes go on, they go on social media and they degrade themselves. And I will never put anybody down. Do your thing, whatever you need to do, go and do it. But there are people out there who will put themselves down. They will even, make a mockery of themselves because they have allowed their ego to overtake them so much in order to just get those likes, just to get those views, just to get just to be out there, really. When realistically, I think when you do things from a place of soul, when you do things from a place of soul, it's gonna take you a little bit longer because that is not how the world operates. When you do things from a place of ego, you are going to get that shit fast. It's gonna come in fast. It's gonna come in thick, but that shit ain't gonna last forever. When you do things from a place of soul, you are building foundations for generations to come. So even if I always say to people, my one friend, she's struggling right now, and she's like, but I'm putting out that love, I'm putting out that light, but I'm not getting anything back. You shouldn't, if you're putting out love and light, you should not want to get anything back. That is not love and light, that is your ego. Maybe you ain't even gonna live to see this abundance. Maybe that abundance is not something it's for you. Maybe it is you are putting that ripple effect out there, and you are putting the stepping stones for generations to come. That is from a place of soul. Ego is the now, I want it now, but the soul is the future. So I think if we spend more time just living in the present and being present, things will come. We can manifest things a lot quicker by just being present. But I think people are so hell-bent on the world seeing them for this amazing thing that they are. And we are all amazing. We're all a product of the universe. We were created. This is not a coincidence. It ain't a coincidence that I'm sat here speaking with you. It ain't a coincidence, that my cat is sitting behind me lying on my bed. It's not a coincidence that the guy over the road is sitting watching some TV. This is not a coincidence. Everything that is happening is supposed to happen. It's divine timing, and what is for you is not going to pass you by. But I think people who don't look at, they're not seeing the world. They're just using these to see everything rather than using this, and the different chakras on your body. Instead of using those and your intuition in order to manifest, they're using the ego. And yes, the ego does manifest things very quickly, but it's very short-lived.
Yeah, it's you have to see it for what it is and how it can help you. But the problem, I was having a conversation with one of my brother's friends, actually a younger cat, and we bumped into each other at the gym. And we was having that conversation about we operate from the base level of everything. And I think to take it to a wider scope, the powers that be kind of want us to operate in that id. They want us to operate in that root chakra where we only care about ego, we only care about sex, we only care about pleasure. They don't want us to get to that. They don't even want us to get to the solar plexus chakra or much less the crown. It's always operate at the base level. Don't begin to question things around you. Don't begin to question spirituality. Don't begin to question your government. Don't begin to question anything that's above consumerism. We want you to go to work, buy shit, eat, and sit in front of a TV. We don't want you to do anything else. And feed your ego. What's crazy? Facebook, I don't have Facebook no more, by the way.
I hate Facebook.
I was looking at that documentary on Netflix, and it was about, what was it called? It was basically about social media. I can't remember the name of the documentary.
Yeah, that social media experiment thing.
Yeah. And what I didn't know, they pointed out, is that for Facebook, they actually employed people that had designed slot machines in Vegas for Facebook, because their goal is to keep you on the app as long as possible and to keep you addicted. And believe it or not, there is such a thing as social media addiction, Facebook addiction. I've read about it and I've been a victim of it. Like, that's one of the reasons I got rid of Facebook, because I found myself on there all the time. And I was like, yo, this ain't cool. I need to get rid of this thing. And guess what? My life hasn't declined because I don't have a Facebook no more. You know, I still have my IG and stuff, but you know, I don't have that. But that's a big thing. Real quick before we close out here, this came to me, and I want to do something random.
Okay.
So, and if you don't feel comfortable going here, you can decline.
Okay.
There are 4 options. If you had to point to or guess how existence was created, either God, we're in a simulation, the world ended in 2012 and we're in a different timeline, or other, which one of those you pick?
Oh shit! Like, how could you do this to me? How could you put me on the spot like this? Oh my God, I have so many theories. Okay, so I'm gonna go with.
Want me to repeat the options?
I'm gonna go. Okay, say the options again. Say them again.
So the first one is God, and when I say God, it doesn't have to be of but just intelligence, or it could be assigned to a particular religion. That's up to you. So
Okay,
the first one is God.
entity.
The next one is a simulation, like this is a computer simulation that we're in. The third one is, like the Mayans said, the world did end in 2012 and we're living in a different timeline.
Yeah.
Or other. Do you have another theory about it?
I'm gonna go with simulation because listen to this. This is some crazy shit. So I was saying to my friend, me and my friend was sat, we were just vibes and we were talking, and I turned to her and said, what if we're like all Sims? Imagine if we're just all Sims and we're just all being controlled by this. I don't know why I said it. It's like sometimes I always come with these theories. It's just my mind, when my mind is open. And I said, what if we're all being controlled by, we're all just puppets, we're Sims, and we're being played. Imagine if we're being played. And then when they started bringing all this stuff out about the metaverse and all that, I was like, wow, my head wasn't even blown. I just thought, but I've been thinking this shit for years. I've been thinking, what if we are being played? Because to a point, I feel like I've always felt very different to other people. And I've always been able to explore conversations that are out of the norm. But I do believe to a height that we are being controlled. I do believe that we're in some kind of simulation, because if we weren't, how is it that people are doing the same shit? And you know, when you see people and you look at them and you think, oh my God, I just saw you. Are you not a carbon copy of that? Of the person? And sometimes I just I believe the Matrix, but don't get me started on the Matrix. I believe in that. I believe in it. I believe there's a red pill. I believe there's a blue pill. I think I swallow both. But I just think sometimes I'm like, this shit cannot be a coincidence. Even back to the Matrix, where are all the writers gone? Where are all the people who actually did that stuff? Like, everybody disappears when it's so close to the truth. And sometimes they give us stuff. Here's an example. I watched a video the other day and they were saying how they created Disney stars. Like all these people who, all those children who did, became Disney stars or whatever. And they were saying how to grow a Disney baby. And it was all jokes and fun and games. But when you actually watch it, you're like, how do we know that shit ain't true? That actually might be true. And sometimes they put the truth right in front of us and make a mockery of it, or make it seem like, it's a bit of, it's comedy, when realistically that could be true. How do we know? Do you ever, I always say to people, sometimes if I'm talking or whatever, I'll say, do you ever get the feeling like you're here, but you're not actually here? I get that feeling all the time. And, the deja vu feelings, and that cannot be a coincidence. I do believe to a height we are in a simulation. What about you? How do you feel? I want to know what you think.
Oh man, I have a lot of theories. So so I was engaging in some plant medicine one time, and I had this thought come to me. This is some years ago, and I had this thought come to me, and I was thinking man, everything is like movement. And I'm like, okay, I started kind of dwelling on that, and I was like, well, what? I was thinking about like, what would the purpose of creation be? Like, why would something need to be created? And what I thought this, I have three theories. One of them, when I was in that state of consciousness, I was like, the universe is created itself for experience. And why and what I mean by that is that maybe in the ether, that realm can't hold experience. And if you look at it like, and the reason why I say that is that everything goes in cycles. Like you look at the sun is born, suns, stars, they die. You look at how human beings age, right? You look at everything. Everything has like kind of like a spring, a fall, excuse me, a winter, a spring, a summer, and a fall. You know, you find that all throughout the universe. Now I was thinking like we see these cycles for experience, and I think we don't understand the miracle that existence is. And I think that this this primordial energy wanted to experience itself. And I think like human beings, plants, tools, human beings, plants, asteroids, nebulas, we're the universe trying to figure itself out.
Yes.
And we're all part of this. And this was some weird that came to me. And this is a lot more, but I don't want to sound too crazy on here because, you know, somebody might come across this like, what is this dude talking about? Then the other thing is, I was thinking about like, man, this could very well be a simulation. And I was thinking about that because like, I've been for years now, it's like I'll have experiences and it almost seems like it was programmed, like it's working off an algorithm. Like one time I'll never forget this. I was in Miami and I was walking down Collins Avenue,
Mm.
and it was like my brain skipped. And this is what I mean by that. Like I remember one time I was walking down Collins Avenue and my brain was like, you're about to be near a guy and his wife, and the guy has on a yellow shirt.
Okay.
But this happened a long time ago.
Okay.
And then out the CVS comes this guy in a yellow shirt and a lady, and I'm right there. And it's just weird. It felt deeper than deja vu. It felt like
Soul catching up.
this was something that happened like 30 years ago. Like it just felt like old. And I was like, man. And it only lasted for like a minute.
Yeah.
And then it left. But I've had a whole lot of those experiences, right?
Yeah, same.
Then I had a dream a few nights ago where, listen, when I woke up, I was scared. That's how real the dream felt. I dreamed I had gotten into a fight and I beat somebody up and I was going to court and I was going to do 10 years in prison. Like I saw the courtroom, I saw me, I saw the lawyer, all of this stuff, right? It was like I saw me in a different universe and I was looking at like, wow. And it was so real.
Yeah.
It was like I had slipped through the algorithm into another computer program, and I saw what that variant of Hoyt is doing in that particular simulation.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was really weird, you know. And then I thought about it like, who's to say maybe it really is? Oh, this is another theory. This is not about the creation of the universe, but of humans. Have you ever read this dude named Zachariah Sitchin?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so that whole 12th planet thing where he talks about like these extraterrestrials, these Anunnaki, they come down, they grab like early hominids, they mix their DNA with them and created human beings. And when you look at it, there's certain things genetically, certain anomalies that we have in our DNA that's like really hard to explain. You know,
Yeah.
scientists have kind of explained like why Homo sapiens, we've kind of like went on this trajectory in comparison with other primates, but who knows? I mean, and then the other reason why I think it might be some credence to that is that you have cultures like the Zulu people, the Dogon, they talk about beings coming down, manipulating DNA, giving knowledge to mankind, and all of this different stuff. So I don't know if this was based off of a real event that happened a really long time ago. And to truly be honest, I believe the universe is so crazy that what really happened may blow us all the fuck away, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
100%. 100%. 100%. And I think, I was having this conversation the other day, and I believe that it's not until we go where we're supposed to go into, that's when we learn what the fuck has
Mhm.
really been going on. It's like, is it a thing where when they pull the plug, it's like, yeah, you did your time, you did your thing, and this is what it is now. And then do we, people talk about reincarnation, but is that just us coming back as another simulation? That is crazy.
Yeah, or could then I remember I was asking my homegirl, I was like, because she's a big proponent of reincarnation. I'm like, well, are there rules with it? Like, if I incarnate on Earth, do I have to reincarnate here or another planet, another solar system, another dimension? Suppose, okay, suppose, right, this is my very first time on Earth. What if I spent the past 2 billion years in a totally different universe? What if this is my very, like, I've never experienced this dimension before, and I spent billions of years in another dimension, in another simulation that's alien to this? And who says that the simulation can't be organic? Like, we think about computers. What if the universe itself is all computer code that's it's computer code based on spirituality?
Yeah.
Like, what if that's the secret? It is code, it is a simulation, but it's really organic, and it's
Yeah.
numbers and energy repeating itself and popping up in different timelines and making this music that we call life. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just, I know I'm sounding nerdy and out there right
No,
now.
you're not. You're not sounding needy. I think it's I love these type of conversations, and it's like, even for me, like ever since I was really young, I've always seen like numbers and sequences and certain things, and I've always questioned it in the sense of, am I a bit weird? I feel weird. I feel different. I feel like I am not of this planet. I feel like I've even said to, fellow friends and fellow, people who are on that kind of wavelength, how do I explain that I don't want to be here without it sounding like I'm about to do something crazy, or like I'm talking maybe about, other things, or suicide, or those kind of things? How do I explain that? And sometimes I know things and I have no business knowing them. And why would I think that way? And then I think to myself, surely surely I ain't going crazy. And then it's not until you speak to other people, you realize there are other people who think the same too. But like I was saying, it was like the vast majority think a certain way. They think they're one-track minded, but then there are that 10% who think outside the box. But why do we think outside the box? Who gave us that? Or what gives us that? Why is that energy fed to us as to why we think outside the box? There's a reason as to why we think differently, but what is it? It's so
So my thing is, I want to, if I had billions of dollars at my like, let's say I had
when
80
I
billion.
have when I have billions of dollars, right?
I'll speak of when I have. But so let's say I had $80 billion, right? I would want to, like, so this is another theory I have. So I'm looking at, as human beings, we need certain vitamins to survive. So, you need your vitamin A, your vitamin B, C, D, your B12, all of these different things. You need certain nutrients. You don't want to be nutrient deficient. And we eat foods to extrapolate these nutrients and to break them down into our bodies to keep us going, to fuel us. So I was thinking, what other things do we need that maybe our ancestors had access to that we don't? Because like when I study like ancient Egypt, and you had these mystery schools, and you had sacred geometry, right? and these all of these esoteric teachings. And what you find out is that the Egyptians, they had a psychedelic called blue something. I can't remember the name of it. And what I'm wondering is, on our journey as humans, are these substances that maybe, these earlier cultures took, whether it's cannabis, whether it's psilocybin, peyote, ayahuasca, did they help, like, just like we need vitamin A for a physical nutrient, did they help on a spiritual and a cognitive level? Because these ancient societies, they seem to be tuned in to something that we've lost. I don't know what it is, but they would tune in to something. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody needs to go out here and do that, because I'm not a physician. I don't encourage people, but I do notice when I read, about people that have had these experiences, it's like they have a different perspective on life
They're
than we
enlightened.
do in a consumer Western world. And and then when I think about it, I think stuff like heroin and crack and all that stuff, you need to keep that illegal because that kills people. But some of these substances, I have to wonder, like, do they have a spiritual benefit that may not be conducive to a system that wants to keep people buying stuff and not having conversations like this?
I 100%, I really do believe, like, I've looked into ancient Egypt. I've really done like a lot of research and a lot of studies and read a lot of books on it because it's something that really fascinates me. It always has. I want to by 2024, I want to take ayahuasca. My plan is to go out to Peru and do that. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there.
You're braver than me. I'm scared of that stuff.
You know what? It's something it's something that I've been researching since 2012. So it's taken me years to get to this point where I say that, I'm pretty confident that it's something that I want to do. And I've spoken to like a shaman and everything. And because I believe it's something that I'm supposed to do as part of my awakening. It's something I'm supposed to do. But I was watching this documentary, and it was two politicians went out and they took their ayahuasca, and when they came back, they they divorced their partners, left their jobs, they totally changed course in that. And the way that they changed, it was so abrupt, but it was almost like, and now they are living the life that they feel that they're supposed to live. When they had this experience, they were shown what it is and their sole purpose is. And they were shown who they were supposed to be, and they became comfortable with that mind state and that mindset. And when they came out of it, it remained for them. What they saw is what remained. So when they came home, they totally changed everything. And I believe that that's what happened with me. My biggest downfall for me is fear. So I'll think something, or I know that I can do something, but fear will kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's prevented me from doing a lot of stuff in my life. But I believe it's because of, I think it starts with the foods that we eat. It starts with the things that we take in. It's because when we're born, we're not born with fear. We're not born with all of these different things. We learn these different things. So, over the years, I feel like spiritually, my awakenings happened. I've had so many spiritual awakenings. I got to a point where, back in 2011, whenever I ate meat, I was throwing up. My body was literally rejecting it. I went to the doctors and I said, something's wrong with me. I felt like I was dying. Honestly, I really felt like I was dying. And he said to me, what's different? Like, what is this? And I said, it's happening every time I eat meat. So he said, okay, well, let's remove meat from your diet and see what happens. I removed meat from my diet and I was fine again. And then it was just little things. So, I haven't eaten meat now in all those years since 2011. But it was just little things. And I didn't ask for these things to happen because I like meat. I liked it when I was eating it. It was something that I would cook in. It was something that I wanted to consume, but I couldn't. And even now, I find myself, I grow my own herbs. I do things that I never thought that I'm like, even now when I do certain things, I'm like, what am I doing? I was, the other day I bought some spring onions and I was cooking and stuff, and I chopped off the end of the spring onions, and I found myself filling a cup full of water and putting the spring onions. And then even like when I go down and I'm seeing these spring onions growing, and I'm thinking, where the fuck does that become this person? What am I doing? But it's almost subconsciously, this is what I'm supposed to. It's almost like I'm going back to something that I already know, but where do I know this shit from? So yeah, it's funny.
McKenna, I'm a big fan of McKenna, Terrence McKenna.
He's out, homie.
yeah. So McKenna talks about, he had a book called Return to the Archaic. And what I think one of the arguments he makes, and this is another guy by the name of Dr. Chris Ryan, he wrote a book called Sex at Dawn that really influenced me a lot. But I think what they say is that we're still those same Homo sapiens. And you got to think about it, for about 200,000 years, we would have been in the tribe. We would have been constantly moving. We would have been, indulging in certain substances. We would have had certain practices, certain customs. And a lot of times on a subconscious level, we kind of yearn to go back to that level of freedom, although we can't have it now because we've kind of been domesticated. And another point I wanted to point out with ayahuasca, and it's another psychedelic out of Gabon in Africa called Ibogaine. And both of those have proven to have like a 70% efficiency rate when it comes to getting people off of heroin. So a lot of people that have dealt with drug issues, such as, methamphetamines, heroin, have gone through like an ayahuasca or Iboga ceremony and come away clean and never touch that stuff ever again. So it has a lot of uses, but the problem is, here in America recently, the government have just at the federal level, they've decriminalized cannabis. And so it's decriminalized, it's still not legal recreationally. I don't know how they kind of walk in that line. But the problem is that we have these substances where if they were legal, doctors and scientists can test these things in controlled settings and say, okay, well, psilocybin has this effect on PTSD. It can have this effect on depression. There have been people, I think the state of Oregon, I think they've legalized psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah, because they're microdosing. A lot of people are just, I was reading about this.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they microdose, and it has a great effect on depression, So the way I'm not at your level of brave yet. I don't think I'm ready to go and do a ceremony. I ain't there yet. Plus my thing is, if I go out to Peru, I gotta have some of my homeboys with me. I gotta roll with some people that I know. I gotta have 2 day ones with me when I go out there, right? But I mean, for me, like I said, I'm not there yet, but I do recognize all of the different medicinal uses of these plants, and the fact that you look at alcohol, and I know in America, I don't know about the UK, there are over 88,000 alcohol-related accidents in America every year. So many people die from alcoholism, issues with their liver due to alcohol, yet it's legal. And we're okay with people doing that. And like I said, for me, I'm a moderation guy, do everything in moderation. But I think these substances, if we could study them more, could have benefits for the population. But listen, this has been a powerful episode. I thank you so much. I didn't mean to hold you this long because I know it's late
okay. No, I enjoyed it. Honestly, I think we need to do a to be continued, maybe talking a little bit more about spirituality and psychedelics as a way, because they have been using them in science. So yeah. And
we'll definitely link back up. I'll shoot you some dates. But real quick, tell people how they can follow you, how they can find the podcast and all that good stuff.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Hold the Vision Podcast. That's at Hold the Vision Podcast. On the Instagram page, there is the link in the bio to the YouTube channel to check out any previous episodes. just to see what we talk about. There are some episodes on there featuring Hoyt as well also. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for, you know, having me on your platform. It's always a pleasure to have conversations with like-minded individuals who just get it, because the world is full of some shit people. So it is nice to just connect with somebody who is of substance, who is good. Hoyt, your platform, I'm addicted. I'm literally addicted. I'm subscribed to the YouTube channel. It is there. I have my notifications on, and I'm, you know, I'm a fan. And I just want to say, keep up the good work, and it's amazing what you do. Keep putting that energy out there, because it's what the world needs.
Thank you. And listen, I'm gonna shoot you another link real, because I got to chop it up with you about some business real quick after I save this. I'm gonna just shoot you another link and just come right back in. But listen, this has been episode 83. Make sure you go and check out the Whole Division podcast. You see the wavelength of mentality that my good friend and sister Chidi is on. So if you like that sort of content, get at her. Shout out to DJ Sticky Fingers. Shout out to Carl. Shout out to Milan. Shout out to the whole Division podcast gang. That's one thing, I gotta get all of you guys on the episode. So probably maybe May or June, I'm gonna try to get all of you guys on to my podcast, and we just kind of chop it up. But once again, make sure you follow Whole Division, and also make sure you subscribe to the No Truths Barred YouTube channel. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify. Make sure you